When you think of the greatest and most brave warriors, the Spartans come to mind. A city of Greeks who worshipped war rather than money. But these Greeks had strange customs. The boys started military training at age 7, known as the agoge. They would be trained to be fierce as a hungry wolf and obedient as an ant. Also, the Spartans took other Greeks as slaves, known as helots. They would actually work the land and pay crippling taxes, so they could never escape. Also, they were terrorized and killed quite frequently. This allowed Spartan men to always be ready for a fight. The most odd law, though, was that you could never eat alone. The unit was more valuable than the individual. Sparta also had a dual kingship from different royal families. This is a rare thing to see. Also, there was a council of elders, known as ephors. They truly set the law to the land, even having the ability to arrest the kings. Sparta was truly a savage and controlled society. They were truly the sons of Hercules.
This is Sparta!
The birthplace of democracy and some of the greatest philosophers to think freely, Athens. The city that had ambitions to match any other. Originally, it was ruled by kings, then tyrants, but a new wave washed over the people and city called democracy. It gave power to the citizens equally, but just the male citizens. Women, foreigners, and slaves were forbidden from joining in the voting of the government. The practice of voting was done every few months with no time limits for debate on the bills. So when everyone gathered in Athens for voting, there were dozens of different issues being voted on. Even the generals of the army and the admirals of the fleet. Their fleet was the strongest by far in Greece, allowing them to show their strength and resolve. The greatest empire of the time to reach the Mediterranean Sea, the Persian Empire, founded by the legendary Cyrus the Great. His successors continued expanding their lands all the way to Ionia, western Turkey, and the north of Greece. But in the Ionian lands, the Greeks there rebelled when the opportunity arose. They asked their fellow Greeks on the mainland for support. Only the Athenians and the Eretrians responded with some 10,000 men to help the rebellion. They would in short time burn down a local Persian capital at Sardis. The current king Darius would soon bring the rebellion to an end. In order to secure his western provinces, the Persians planned for an invasion of Greece.
It's main event time.
For revenge for helping rebel Greeks in Turkey, the Persian Empire set sail and was first on its way to Naxos Island, who refused to submit. It was quickly overrun by the empire. Then, the fleet sailed north to Eritrea. They burned the city to the ground. The smoke and fire was now encircling the main supporter of their failed rebellion, Athens, the city of democracy. The empire now landed just north of Athens, on the coast of Marathon. Messengers were sent out to the legendary Spartans, but they were in the middle of a religious holiday and were not allowed by law to leave. With few options left, nearly 9,000 Athenians and 1,000 men from the small town of Plataea left for the invasion location. They were outnumbered 4-1. May the gods bless their bravery. On the beaches of Marathon, 10,000 Athenians and Plataeans stood guard against the Persian Empire, outnumbered nearly 4-1. After 5 days of the Persians waiting for a possible revolution in Athens, the main Greek opposition, the Athenian general, who realized that the famous Persian cavalry was away in a separate camp, he found his moment. He ordered on short notice the entire army to move on the double. The Persians, seeing the oncoming Greeks, and rained arrows upon them, numbering in the thousands. But they kept advancing through the sand towards the Persians. The Persians could not stand against the heavily armored spearmen of Athens and Plataea. They fled back to their ships, losing thousands in the fight, but the fight was not over yet. A Greek soldier ran the 26 miles back to Athens to both proclaim victory and warn of the Persian fleet approaching. This is where we have the first marathon run. The city prepared for the worst, but by the time the fleet arrived outside the long walls of Athens, a siege seemed impossible. The Persians would retreat back to Asia. Soon after, the Spartans showed up with their army. They looked around and noticed everything's all good. When they sent a messenger to Athens, they simply congratulated them and left back home. King Darius was furious, but before he could relaunch the invasion, he died. It would fall to his son, a god among men, to get vengeance for the Persian Empire, and his name is Xerxes.
I'll be back.
Now you're all in big trouble.